Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today we got a brand new trailer for the Book of Boba Fett, the show that's coming out on December 29th. So it's barely coming out this year, but it is still technically coming out this year. Now, I'm going to be completely upfront with you guys. I believe in honesty. I have already seen this trailer on my phone, and I've seen a bunch of people talk about it. So this is not a first reaction, but I will be looking very closely, and we're going to be going through some things, and I'll just in general tell you my thoughts like I always do. But just to be completely honest, this is not a first reaction. I'm not gonna fake it and be like, oh, what is this thing I've never seen before. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and watch it, and then yeah, we'll just talk about everything. Let's see, the volume's up. Okay, and here we go. These little these are monk things.
I am not a bounty hunter.
I am not a bounty hunter.
I've heard otherwise.
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, a lot of people have been saying that other voice that you hear sounds like Din Djarin. The subtitles say Alien Number 1 or something like that, but
of your former employer.
I think it's supposed to be that guy talking. What's it, Thorian?
With fear.
We'll talk about that more.
I intend to rule with respect.
You can see the Boba fresh paint. Does have at least some little peck marks, but
I'm
still
here to
mostly
make a
clean.
proposal that's mutually beneficial.
At the top of the palace, we finally get
Why
to see
speak of conflict when cooperation can make us all rich?
What prevents us all from killing you and taking what we want?
Okay, I think those were Republic credits, actually. We'll look at that in a second.
If you had spoken such insolence to Jabba, he'd have fed you to his menagerie.
Please. Speak freely.
Yeah, it seems like someone just got shot right before you said that. Okay, so you know, really exciting. December 29th. Okay, so we're gonna turn off the volume and let's just go through this thing. So obviously, this little guy here, as we can see, I think here. This guy here, obviously we've seen this creature in Return of the Jedi. It was not until years and years later that I was told that this thing was supposed to be a monk who had you know, it's like reached such levels of enlightenment that their brain is actually in this liquid, and they're just like a brain in a jar that's controlling this spider droid, which is like the weirdest idea, because it's like, why was this thing in Jabba's palace? What the hell was Jabba doing with these guys? It was just such a bizarre concept, like, you know. And that's kind of like some of the magic of Star Wars, is that like they, you know, they'll make some creatures that just look really neat and cool, and then they'll worry about the backstory later, you know. And let's see what else we see. I think this must be some sort of bacta tank thing to the right. A lot of people have noticed that here, let's go back a little bit. A lot of people have noticed that Boba looks a lot healthier than he did in Mando season 2. Here's my suspicion, and here's how I think they're gonna like get around all this. Basically, I think Boba was saved from the Sarlacc pit by Tusken Raiders. He lived with their people for a while, but then he saw Din with his armor, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go get that. And basically, all the events of The Mandalorian Season 2 were the first time that he was away from the Tusken Raiders, which is why he still looked the way he did. You know, he was still not... You know, he hadn't showered, he hadn't been, you know, he hadn't been healed with bacta, he hadn't, you know, all this quality of life stuff, you know. So only now that he's got Jabba's palace, he goes in that little bacta tank there. You can see he's got his eyebrows back, his skin does not look as pale anymore. You know, basically he all around just looks healthier. And I think that's legitimately, like, you know, obviously it's like he doesn't have to, the actor doesn't have to have as much makeup applied, so that eases that. But also, you know, it makes sense that, like, now that he has more luxuries living in this palace, he has more stuff like that available to him. Now, where is this place located exactly? I don't know. Now, it's easy to assume it's Tatooine, which obviously it could be, but this could be an entirely different planet. Let's see if we can take a look at some of these people in the background here. Now, the voice that we hear, that we think is Din Djarin talking, because admittedly it sounds exactly like his voice, and maybe it is Pedro Pascal voicing the character here, I don't know, but I believe it is actually this Ithorian. I'm not so great with the species names, but if you actually look at the sides here, and we've seen this in the Bad Batch and in some other shows, I believe, this species has this little machine that they can apply to their side mouth lung thingies, like the little gills. They have this machine they can attach to that, which will then it'll translate into a robotic sounding English basic speaking voice. So I think that's actually what we're hearing here. Go watch the episodes of Bad Batch. There is one in the bar that he's around for a few episodes. He has the same exact device on him. So I think that's all that this is. So I think that voice we're hearing is him talking. It's not Din Djarin. So all right, so let's keep on going. Yeah, you can get a clearer picture. You see this device on him. This just looks awesome. This could be Tatooine, but it's also possible it's not. It's very much of a valley and a canyon and this whole thing, so less of a desert, more of a valley type thing. So it's people have mentioned Jeddah. It kind of looks like Jeddah. This could be the complete other side of the planet Jeddah, the one that's not a giant crater. So who knows, but and then Jabba's throne. The interesting thing that they keep on saying it's Jabba's throne, but of course Jabba never sat on a throne. He was a giant slug. There was no chair that he could fit into, but Bib Fortuna did. Bib Fortuna was sitting in this, so it's symbolically his throne. It's not maybe necessarily super literal that it is his. Man, I love the repainted. It's still, they did add some more peck marks to it, some more scratch marks, so he's gotten in a couple of scrapes since he's gotten it repainted, but I just love the way it looks. I know some people want to stay no, the traditional really messed up one is the best one, but I kind of like this. This right here is really cool, and I'm going to tell you, I've now been to Galaxy's Edge, and I've been to Oga's Cantina. The plates that they're using and the food that they have on here, it very much looks like the stuff you would get at Galaxy's Edge, so I kind of appreciate that. And yeah, we have some Trandoshan. Some people are wondering if this is Bosk. Bosk is rumored to appear. That does not necessarily mean that one of these are Bosk. You can see we got 3 up here, and then we got 3 of this species here, whichever one these are. Just the different species crime families. Now, the cool thing here is that, it's been 5 years since Jabba's been gone, and these used to be Jabba's captains, but I'm wondering how successfully was Bib Fortuna keeping up the Empire? You know what I mean? Were these guys under the thumb of Bib Fortuna, or have they been fighting with Bib for the last 5 years, and then now Boba takes him out? So I'm wondering, basically, in what condition is this criminal empire left by the time Boba gets it? Because I have to imagine, just based off of Bib Fortuna's physical appearance, that he was not exactly running things smoothly. He seems to have kind of let everything just get to him. He wasn't exactly on top of everything. And then we get some of these guys here. We've seen them before. I think wasn't that the same species that Obi-Wan cut off his hand. Now look, I'm gonna say this right now. Not a lot of there are some people that I guess the term is shipping. Some people ship these two together. You know what? I can see it happening. I'm just gonna I'm gonna put it out there. I can see this happening. I can see these two characters. They're not too far apart in age wise, not that really matters, but I think once you're past your late 20s, it kind of matters less what the age difference is. you know, whether one is 40 and one is 30, it's like, so what, you know? Anyways, so I can see it happening. They have a lot in common. They definitely have a past and a history, and clearly they're, you know, she seems to be like with them to the end, you know. I know that she mentioned like, oh, I have a life debt and all this and that, but like, I don't know, I can feel their relationship going further than this. It doesn't have to, obviously it doesn't have to. They can just remain like partners in crime and all that, but I could see it happening. So yeah, pretty cool shot of this. Let's see. Now, a lot of people have mentioned, hey, this might actually be a flashback, which makes a lot of sense. You can see that these guys are wearing what, you know, it might just be like a silhouette effect, but it looks like they're wearing darker clothes than the normal Tusken Raiders. So if this is how Boba got, you know, his gaffy stick and his black cloak, maybe they rescued him, or maybe they're the ones who like took the armor off of him and they took it away, but he managed to fight one of them off, you know, while the other ones went away with the armor or something like that. Who knows, you know, they're gonna have to at least, you know, if they're not going to show a full flashback, they're going to have to at least to like acknowledge like, okay, so you got out of the Sarlacc pit, but then you got separated from your armor, but you also seem to know exactly who had your armor because you mentioned Cobb Vanth by name, so you knew he had it, but you spent 5 years not getting it back, you know. So like there's some things that I hope they address, because, you know, exactly how and why he didn't go after it, and, you know, lots of questions there. That was a cool shot. Actually, I've never... I only just put that together. Look at this. So she pulls this dagger out of the... Look at that. That's really cool. That's a cool, like, assassin thing to have. Like, in the gun, there's, like, a little throwing dagger you can have. Yeah, the Twi'leks look pretty good. Let's see. You know, the headpieces sometimes look wonky, I think, in Mando Season 1. We get more from this dinner scene here. So we can see there's only these 3 species. So it's not, maybe this is just the 3 different families that are on Tatooine, because this doesn't seem to be like a huge, you know, when you think of like Jabba's captains of his entire criminal empire, you would think that there'd be like, you know, 12 different families under his rule, but there's only like 3 here. So curious about that. Yeah, these appear to be Republic credits. You can see the little Republic symbol on those coins there. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll be honest, I have no idea what Republic credits actually look like, but they have the Republic symbol on them, so that must be them. So that's pretty cool. I'm wondering what's, like, obviously they're in a fight. You can see the shields here that we're gonna see in a second, so this is that same scene with the shields. I'm wondering why he was keeping a bunch of coins in his helmet. Did he not have any pockets? Something happened here where he's like, I have nowhere else to put these, put them in the helmet. So that's kind of funny. And I don't know if they're like getting robbed by these guys or what. In fact, let's rewind a little bit. Let's see what we can see here. So he takes this dude down. Yeah, it seems to be a human. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if they're just like being robbed or what the deal is, but... And then this is a later scene talking to the same families, but now they are at, you know, no longer Jabba's palace, but Boba's palace. So I imagine that this is the end of that first episode, and they're all gonna like come around to pledging fealty to him. This also seems like, based on like the way that they're reacting, like look at this, like oh man, oh crap, right? They're like, oh, it looks like they just, like, Boba just shot somebody. In fact, you can see this guy seems to be putting like this, like the guy on the left had like a blaster out, and the guy here is like, no, put that away. Let's not start this. You know, it seems like Boba just killed somebody, and they're all like, okay, we're done playing around. So I'm wondering what exactly happened there, but that's interesting. So yeah, that's the Book of Boba Fett. Like a lot of people have said, I imagine this entire trailer here was pretty much just footage from the first episode. It's gonna be establishing like what condition is Jabba's empire in, getting the captains, corralling them, trying to get them, get back in place. Now, why does Boba want to even rule this? Why, like, of everything he could do, why does he want to rule this criminal empire? Maybe he feels he's owed it, like he never got payment for all the stuff he did. Maybe something like that. Who knows? Who knows what his actual motivations are? Does Boba Fett have a heart of gold underneath all the gruff? Yeah, I think that's kind of the direction they've been leaning. Is that like, okay, Boba Fett deep down is actually a good guy, but he's gonna do stuff in a violent way if he has to, kind of thing. So who knows? And this guy here seems to be maybe this is gonna be the big rival criminal guy, or maybe he gets taken out pretty quickly. It's also interesting. So yeah, I'm liking the look and the feel and the style of everything. I have never wanted a set of Boba Fett armor more than I do now. And you know what? I want this repainted one. I want the clean looking one. I want this Boba Fett armor. That's what I want. Dang, this is gonna be exciting. And the other thing is that this is really the kickoff for all of the content that we're going to be getting from this point on. We got Andor and Ahsoka and Kenobi and Bad Batch season 2 and Mandalorian season 3. We got so much stuff coming, and it's just, this is like the beginning of next year's insanity. So we're here in November. We still have to wait a while before we actually get to start the show, because this show literally doesn't start until like a couple days before December ends. So basically 2022 is when this starts. But man, I'm really excited for this. I'm sure there's so much that we did not see. Like, think about everything we didn't know. Like, we knew a lot going into Mando season 2, but think about everything we didn't know about, and then think about like how we know so little about Book of Boba Fett. Because I'll tell you this, a lot less has leaked about Book of Boba Fett than I think most other shows. Like, we know a lot about, we know some of Kenobi, like a decent amount. We know a lot of supposedly of what's happening with Ahsoka and even Mando season 3. But Book of Boba Fett, strangely enough, the one that's coming the soonest, we know almost nothing about it. Like, I have not heard that many rumors at all about Book of Boba Fett. So I'm like, there could be some major stuff happening and we have no clue. So that's really, really interesting. Also, this really isn't deserving of its. Well, I don't want to say it's not deserving, but it's not enough content to really like fill up its own whole video. But there has been a recent report that we're getting a Darth Maul show. It's an animated Crimson Dawn show that's basically gonna fill in like after Solo, but before Rebels. So like, hey, what happened with Kira and Darth Maul, and and we just finished the comic books. We just finished War of the Bounty Hunters, which reintroduced Crimson Dawn to the galaxy in a post Empire Strikes Back but pre Return of the Jedi era. So a lot of that stuff is happening, and I would not be super surprised if Crimson Dawn somehow played a part in this show with the criminal elements and the rival gangs and all this stuff. So who knows who could show up in this. That's all I'm saying. Obviously Darth Maul is dead by this point, but Kira, her fate is kind of a mystery. They're writing a series of comics centering around her. As far as Return of the Jedi, she might live past that point. She very well could, because she's she's already living past Empire. She's right there. So am I saying that Kira could show up here with Crimson Dawn? It's not impossible. That's all I'm saying. It's not impossible. So wouldn't that be crazy? All right. Let me know your theories. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, how excited are you for the Book of Boba Fett? And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.